Hi, Theater Pizzazz. I'm Meredith Heyman. So excited to be talking Broadway with you. Joining me today is the book and lyrics writer for Lempicka, Carson Kreitzer. She also came up with the original concept for the work. Carson, thank you so much for joining me, and congrats as you prepare to make your Broadway debut.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk there. It's your Broadway debut. Previews are going to start in a month. How are you feeling? What is this meaning to you right now?
I am feeling filled with the work and the incredible team that we have telling the story. I am feeling, certainly moments of intense butterflies, but mainly I'm actually really kind of delighted to find myself just in the room doing the work, the same as we have done all the way getting to here. This team has been built carefully over years and years, and we're we're continuing the work we did at Williamstown Theater Festival. We're continuing the work we did at La Jolla, and it just feels like we are finally getting to do our show big and bold and the way we have always wanted to. But it very much feels like the same room, the same people, and an even more intense dedication to getting her story out to the world. And it's just a delightful place to be, having incredibly long days and trying to make rewrites and move this here and move that there and see the new dance number. And it's nonstop, but it's just thrilling. And
Mhm.
it takes every bit of energy, and then it gives every bit of energy back, and then it takes it again.
Sure. But big and bold, those are two good words to start when describing who we are talking about with this show, Tamara de Lempicka. Tell me about this artist for those who may not know. A famed Art Deco artist, now her story brought to life on the musical theater stage.
I actually I have with me the original art
Wow.
book I have been carrying around for 14 years as we worked on this show. The pages are falling out of the back. But this is the book. This is the book where I discovered Tamara de Lempicka. And this is the book that I brought to the coffee shop and pushed across the table to Matt Gould to say, hey, do you want to do a musical about this incredible woman?
How did you
This
discover the
is
book? How did you find the book first?
I have been, as a playwright, I have been writing these stories of incredible women that I wish I had known about growing up, and these stories that I think we need to know, stories that are often sort of submerged in the culture or not given their due because it's just a woman and why should she go into history? So I have written a series of plays about kind of powerhouse women, women who are pushing against the culture of the time, demanding more, the women who have made it possible for us to live the lives that we can live now. So that's kind of my wheelhouse, is this historical research and finding these incredible characters who I then fall in love with and spend years researching and writing about. And um, it's been a really lovely through line in my life, and I keep coming back to these stories. But a director friend actually turned me on to Tamara de Lempicka, and he said, you've got to check out this woman, Tamara de Lempicka, get one of her art books. You are going to love her. She's one of your women. So this is someone who knows me very well, knows what my obsessions are, and I found this book in a used bookstore in the city I was in at the time, and I just went, oh yeah, yes, I am in. She's amazing. And I knew so many of her paintings, but I did not know a thing about her and her incredible life, which
Mhm.
is just wild and inspiring and terrifying. And the way she reinvented herself over and over and had to keep starting again and starting again, just the fierceness of this woman insisting that she was going to matter and
Yeah.
that her work was going to matter. It's gorgeous, and her work is, it's so bold, it's so color saturated, it's so rich. She often does folds of fabric in a technique that you will see in Renaissance portraiture. And she is like an exacting perfectionist about what she is doing. And it feels like this is our job, is to capture the feeling of these paintings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what about those feelings and her as a character made you think, though, still like the story has to sing? The story is ripe for a musical theater telling.
It really is. It's the paintings. And I had, right before this, I had been working on a play about a woman artist named Lee Miller, who was a photographer. She was Man Ray's muse and with the Surrealists in Paris, and then became a photographer and a World War II combat photographer. And that play is very much influenced by her work and her, what I found of her in the work and in the research. And it's much grittier and it's much more angular and it's a bit surreal and there's strange moments. But these, this color, this like clarity of line and intent, it feels like it's heightened. This painting is theatrical,
Mm-hmm.
is turned up, is posed and conscious of itself, and the way that these humans are presented in this sort of larger than life and perfectly posed way feels like the way we bring reality slightly higher for a musical.
Mm-hmm.
That it's bigger than a play. Her work did not want to be a play.
Yeah.
And Matt always says that he saw the paintings and they sing.
Mhm. Yeah. But finding yourself on Broadway now with Lempicka, you mentioned it's had years of iterations and other productions and in different places. Did you always know you would end up here on Broadway?
Well, we had COVID happen right before we were going to the La Jolla Playhouse. So there have been many moments of uncertainty along the path, and we always envisioned this. And I will say that Matt Gould envisioned Broadway from minute one. And I am more of a downtown theater artist, and as we were kicking the story around, I was like, well, I'm thinking maybe St. Anne's Warehouse with like scaffolding and maybe sand on the floor. And I was like, nope, Broadway. We're going to Broadway. And at the time,
Scaffolding and sand on the floor.
this is 14 years ago, and I didn't trust that Broadway was ready for this kind of story and this kind of challenging woman who is taking up a lot of space and is making decisions, putting herself in the front of her own life in a way that we are really encouraged not to do. But the things I love in musicals are these great powerhouse roles for women. And I very much wanted to be writing that for for the world, for musicals, for mostly for the incredible actresses we have
Yeah.
who don't necessarily have those really strong, meaty roles that I want to see them in. Um, and I I'm very happy that Matt saw the future and that this is where we belong, and this is where the most people will get to experience Eden Espinosa as Tamara de Lempicka,
Yeah.
and just the desires and the power and the almost mania to have everything perfect and build and build and build that I found in the research and that I found in the paintings, and to feel that in Eden's body and in Eden's voice, which is so powerful and such an emotional main line, um, is is just the way I always hoped we could tell this story. And I can't imagine it any other way at this point.
And you'll be in good company this season because although Broadway isn't always a place where female creators and writers are highly represented, I did some math. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. At me if I'm not. But it looks like of the 14 new musicals that are on Broadway this season, at least half of them have a either female book writer, music writer, lyrics writer. So that's a really stronger number than we've had in years past.
In a long time. Yeah, that's really thrilling to hear. That's, I mean, 50-50. I remember 50-50 in 2020 was a goal a while back for representation, and if we're getting there in Broadway musicals, hallelujah.
That's just in the new musicals. Not I didn't look at plays, I didn't look at revivals, but that's just in the new musicals. So you're up in good company. You're a part of this is a good season, right?
It's an amazing season for new musicals. I was just wild to have such a profusion of new work blossoming at the same time. It's really it's you can feel the energy. You can feel it bubbling under the surface, and here we come. It's time for new musicals.
And with your Broadway debut, there's a little bit of life imitating art, art imitating life. Art has always been very much a part of your life, correct? A strong connection. Your mother uh, is an artist, was an artist, uh, and your mother used to paint, excuse me, as
Yes, yes.
and
Growing up,
talk to me about that
I would.
connection.
It's something I remember so strongly from my childhood, is that the smell of paint, and watching my mother work and watching how the colors are mixed and blended and how the brushes are cleaned with turpentine, and it's all very heady scents. It's very strong, powerful aromas and probably things you shouldn't be inhaling. uh, it was magical watching her create something out of nothing, starting with a blank canvas, and then here is this world. um, so that I definitely I keep recognizing little moments with Kizette is Tamara's daughter in the show, and there are little moments where I sort of go, oh, I don't think I even consciously pulled that from being 8 years old, but I remember that.
Mm.
I remember being around the grown-ups who are talking about really interesting things I can't quite put together entirely, but I'm getting this and I'm getting this, and the smell of paint, and I'm posing, and we're doing this thing together. It's so yeah, there. I've also had friends who are painters. I used to pose for my friend Antonia in college. So there's the sense of what it takes to be very still and trying to read the book that you need to have read for class the next day and be posed. But yeah, it's a familiar world to me, and I think it's lovely to kind of have that as a basis and as a workplace. You know, that it's not some over there heightened thing. It's this is how we make work. And I watched my mother make work, and now Matt and Rachel and Raja and I are in there getting paint all over ourselves and cleaning up with turpentine and going, this here, okay, this dance number, wait, is this going to be up here and down there? And we need some more bars of music so this can come in. And it's in a really beautiful way. It is work, and I love that
Write what you know, right?
work.
And speaking about also familiarity, someone else very familiar to Lempicka, or who Lempicka was familiar to, Madonna. We have this like age-old connection with between Madonna and Lempicka. Tell me about, and if I is there also a you Madonna connection?
um, I mean, I have a personal connection to Madonna that she doesn't know about.
Okay. Me too. Me too.
Yes. But I was really convinced of the power of Madonna's work, and this is also about telling these stories and telling the stories of strong women. But a friend of mine, this is a gay man who used to win Madonna impersonation contests. This is long ago, before there was drag on TV, and you had to be somewhere else to be in that world. He was in a very destructive, abusive relationship, and I was very worried about him, and none of us knew what to do, and he just couldn't break away from this person. And Madonna's Express Yourself came out, and that video in particular is so Lempicka referencing and influence, and she's in this green dress that with hair that is very Lempicka. The dress is very Lempicka, and that song and that video helped Tommy walk away from a situation he should not have been in. And hearing how much Madonna saying, don't go for second best, baby, put your love to the test, he was able to put himself in there and say, I deserve better than this. I deserve to be treated the way I want to be treated, and I'm going to walk away. And I have always, always loved Madonna for that.
Mm.
So thank you, Madonna. Thank you, strong women who show us, if it's not working, walk away and get yourself a situation that is working for you.
Do you hope she comes to see the show now?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we would certainly love to have Madonna see what we've been working on. And you know, I think she would like it. We share a love of this incredible artist, and the synchronicity in that Madonna tour with the Lempickas happening just as we're heading to
I
Broadway. I mean,
know, it's so cool.
there are so many things that kind of feel like, oh, this is the right time for this show. Like it took a long time, and we had a lot of challenging times along the way, and there were a few moments of sort of early on sticking to our guns and saying we need the show to be this, and knowing we might get a no, and we did get a no, and it was worth waiting. It was worth continuing to work on the show because it had to be the show that we had in our minds. We knew we had to be true to that vision. And I mean, it's a story of an artist trying to live her full self as a woman who loves both a man and a woman at a time when that was very much not acceptable behavior or accepted behavior at all. And you had to really be careful not to let that show, or your career would be over in an instant. um, Having this intense artistic life and emotional life, sexual life at a time of impending fascism in Europe. And there have been quite a few times when we thought, oh, it's even more relevant now. Oh, look, now we're working on this show and now it means this and it connects with this. And as we got closer and closer, there were just moments where I said, it's relevant enough. Okay, we don't need any more parallels to anything that is happening right now.
Yeah.
And there was a line in La Jolla about change and the world getting better for women. And, this is after World War One. And Tamara says, the world is changing. And the Baroness says to her, it can always change back. And when our actress said that line, the night that the Supreme Court decision had been announced that Roe v. Wade was dead, there was such an audible response from the audience that night.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we felt this, and that was not a moment that we thought, oh, this is really going to link up with today. And then suddenly there it was.
Yeah.
And the world was changing back, and strong women were being told, no, you can't be here. But the Madonna tour with the Lempickas is the craziest. Like, yes, it's the right time.
Yeah.
Here you go. You're heading to Broadway, and Madonna is touring the world with all of these Lempickas everywhere. People keep texting me videos from her concerts. Like, all right, here it's the moment. It's the moment of Lempicka.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it will soon be time for Lempicka on Broadway, and we can't wait for that. Then, Carson, thank you so much for joining me and talking Lempicka.
Thank you. Thank you. And
now, wait to see it. March 19th. Previews begin at the Long Acre. Opening night is April 14th. Stay with Theater Pizzazz for more Broadway and theater news and reviews, interviews from me. I'm Meredith Heyman. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next time.